When the Supreme Court ruled yesterday that Colorado did not have the authority to remove Donald Trump from its ballot, it said it was working to avoid a patchwork of ballots where voters in some states got one candidate while voters in others did not. It could be chaos, the justices wrote. But did they, in fact, avoid potential chaos in their decision, or did they create another equally chaotic consequence? Politico's Josh Gerstein explores that in his latest piece. He joins me now. Josh, thanks for being here. I know you wrote this with Kyle Cheney. I'm going to give a shout out to him as well. Explain this loophole. Can you call it a loophole?
Well, it may be an unintended consequence of the court's ruling, Katie. I mean, you know, the question here is who has the power to kick insurrectionists off of the ballot, either the presidential ballot or a federal ballot, state ballot for any position. And it seems like no one is not a tenable answer. So the Supreme Court here had to basically decide whether states had the right to kick presidential candidates off the ballot. And they said no. They think that power resides with Congress, which is a fine answer, except for the fact that, you know, Congress is also the one that, as we know from January 6th, oversees the tallying of electoral votes. And so our article is basically looking at a controversy going on in the last 24 hours among constitutional law professors, legal experts, who say that the court's ruling, sort of punting this to Congress, is almost an invitation to people up there to decide that they're going to unilaterally enforce this insurrection provision if they don't like the results at the ballot box in November.
So part of the decision, though, is that Congress would have to legislate. That's how I read it, at least. I'm sure there are legal scholars out there who are not going to read it that way. But if they have to pass legislation, a statute of some sort, is there something that Congress could already look to try to potentially say that if Donald Trump wins, he's not eligible and the election is moot?
Right. So, you know, that is one interpretation of the decision. Some people say the Electoral Count Reform Act that was passed a couple years ago that was supposed to address the issues that came up 4 years ago in the tallying of the electoral ballots, that law could be seen as a law that implements this insurrection provision, even though it doesn't say that it is a law like that. But what's curious, Katie, is that the decision, at least the way I read it, is kind of ambiguous. It says Congress could pass legislation, but the majority doesn't actually say that that's the only way Congress can work its will. Curiously, the concurrence from the three liberals says that's what the majority said, but you can't actually find the words in there that legislation is required to implement this. Why would that be? Well, Congress on a number of occasions has considered denying positions either in the House or the Senate to people who were considered to be insurrectionists. And there's a general legal consensus that the House and the Senate each have the ability to do that. So there is some role for Congress to implement that 14th Amendment provision without passing legislation. They can do it with their own members. And the question is, could they do that in this electoral tally that's set to take place next January 6th?
I know you talked to a couple of lawmakers about this. What did they tell you?
Well, you know, they generally said that they're going to look at this decision very carefully. I think that, you know, Democrats were wary of saying right now that this is something that they'd consider. You know, their preference, obviously, on the Democratic side would be for Joe Biden to win a decisive victory where that this would not even be a question. But it does seem like at least some Democrats, perhaps those, you know, that are on the left end of the party, would be reluctant to rule out any possibility if they really think Trump isn't qualified to be president, because there are many legal experts out there, you know, both on the liberal side and even a few on the conservative side, saying that they think this argument has some weight. The real question on the table is, did the Supreme Court sort of slam the door shut on this and nail it shut, or is there still a little bit of wiggle room in that door?
Josh Gerstein, really good to have you. It's a big question right there. Appreciate it.
Right.